Hey everybody, welcome back to ChortleCast. I'm Jake. With me as always, the Stream King, the Far Cry guy, the King of Thieves himself,
Aren't you
Steven.
with me today? Though?
Actually, that is true because we are actually high five. We're together and we're in one place. And I have come to you, ladies and gentlemen, to lay down some effing truth.
Jake tells me like Monday of this of like a week ago today, as you guys are watching this. He's like, on this coming week's podcast, literally like 6 days out from recording, he's like, I got stuff to say.
I got some hard truth to lay on you guys today, okay? So, number one, we apologize that there was not a podcast this past Monday. I don't even know what day that would have been. August something or other.
Today is.
I'm terribly sorry. I hate missing the podcast. Like, you really just don't know. It bothers me when we miss it. And it honestly disrupts me because I have so many things I want to say and talk about. Anyway, the reason we missed the podcast is because Jake learned some hard life lessons this week. And you know what, Steven? This channel, we're all friends here, right? Mm-hmm. You and I are friends. Yeah. We are friends with our subs. We like, and with friends, friends help each other, right? Friends teach each other. You watch your friends do stupid shit, and you either say, I want to do that too, or you say, that's a thing I'm not going to ever do, okay? Yes. This is one of those times that I have done something stupid, and I am coming back to you, and I'm saying, Steven,
learn from me.
Be better. Be better, okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's what happened to me. So, for those of you that don't know, Lee Allison and I, my wife, we bought a house this year. Very exciting. Big news.
It's a very nice house.
It is. It's great. We love it. We got very lucky. But we were living in a condo that I bought when we were both in this. And we were in the same town. She was still in college. I knew we were going to be in this town for a while. Yeah. So I was like, instead of throwing away money at a apartment, let's just buy a condo. Yeah. We'll live in it. Worst case, we sell it at the end of it, right? Yeah. Well, we were in a good enough place and we found a renter. So it was like, let's rent. We're going to rent this. This is the real lesson number one, okay? If you're going to buy property, okay, especially an apartment, and you want to rent it or do anything like that, one lesson I've learned is do not buy the upstairs unit, period. Always buy the ground level shit, okay? I don't care if you can see the Taj Mahal from your effing 2-story whatever. Get the ground level one that can see the wall in front of the Taj Mahal. You know what I'm saying? Because...
the Taj Mahal.
Yeah. Because if anything happens to your apartment, okay, say it burns or it floods or whatever, you are affecting everyone below you.
Trickles
and suddenly you're paying for everyone's problems, okay? So lesson number one, that's what happened to me, okay? I went over to work on some repairs for the renters because they discovered some things that just were messed up that either I never noticed that were working when I was there and just needed to be kind of fixed or whatever. Anyway, I was working on some stuff. One of the things was ice maker, all right? So I was not even going to touch the ice maker because I knew at the time that stuff could be tricky. And I also know that I am not talented in that, okay? So my plan going into it, I was looking at the fridge and I was trying to get a serial number so I could take that serial number to the internet and figure out what was wrong.
Have the internet fix your problem.
Have the internet fix my problems. Yeah. There's no serial number on the front or inside anything on the fridge. That leads me to believe it must be on the back, right? So I know already because I've painted this apartment that I can just move the fridge back.
Right.
So I'm like, but I better do it gently. So I just go to get it and I give it a little tug. I mean, I didn't even move it, Steven. A little tug, just a tester to feel how much pressure do I got to give this. Little tug. So, this is to teach you all a little bit about fridges. They connect to a water pipe that is behind your fridge, okay? And some fridges are better than others, and they have metal tubing that connects these things.
Right.
My fridge is not one of those better fridges.
Pretty much any rental unit is not going to be one of those nicer fridges.
It was connected by a straw. Literally a straw. Like, I am not exaggerating. It is a bendy straw. It was like a polyurethane material that was the thickness of a straw. Okay?
Yeah.
And so what had happened at this time was a small crack had happened in that pipe.
Yep.
I assume either disrupted by my jolt or the incision was caused by my jolt. But I really don't understand how either could have happened. So anyway, upon that, now I have a problem. Like I have to move the fridge out, and I turn the water off. Now I've got to replace this pipe and figure out what's wrong with the ice maker, okay?
Yeah.
So this is where I should have just stopped, okay? I should have just said, tea time, time out, no thank you. I'm done. This is as far as I'm going. So lesson number 2, don't F with water, okay? Water is evil, okay? Pure evil. Airbender, you know, the water tribe, they're supposed to be the good guys. No, fuck that. They are the villains, okay? You think it's the Fire Nation, but nay, it is the water tribe, okay? Do not F with water. It is a bad deal. Take it from your old pal Jake. Don't F with water. I don't F with that shit no more, okay? It's like a drug that will ruin your life, okay?
Never drink water ever again.
Don't drink it. Don't touch it. Don't play in it. Don't swim with it. Nothing. Don't touch water, okay? Especially when it's involved in your home. I had nightmares about water just everywhere, okay? All right, so that's where I should have stopped,
yes.
Okay? But I ran to Lowe's. I got a replacement pipe. I connected everything exactly how it was, okay? A plumber himself could not have done any better at putting this back exactly as it was. The problem is I did not know there were other fridges that had metal tubing, okay? That was like industrial and unable to be cut, okay? That was where I went wrong. I did everything exactly as it was, okay? So, don't F with water. I walk away. I text my renter. I'm like, hey, I think I fixed the ice maker, because I did. I think I figured out what was wrong with there. I did fix it, but it still leaked. So like it worked, but it was still a little teeny tiny little leak.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a whole nother issue. But anyway, so I leave. I tell them, hey, keep an eye out. I got some towels up there ready to go. Like I had some like super absorbent paper towels. I was like, if it starts to leak, tonight, just turn the ice maker off, lay down some towels. I'll come check it out later. Good, cool deal. Walk away. Having a good day. I'm like, man, whew, I did it. I figured out all these different issues. I'm having a great time. I get a message from my renter. She says, there's water all over the floor. And I think, oh, crap, okay. I did not fix the ice maker. Not in a rush, not in a panic at this point. And I was just like, cool, I'll head right over now. I go over there. Steven, there's an inch of water everywhere in the condo. An inch of water, okay? Mm-hmm. An inch of water in the house everywhere. The only room that was safe, because apparently the condo, I didn't realize this, but it is sort of at a tilt, like just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
So the living room area, which is almost half the size of the condo, was completely safe because there was a little lip that the water never could get over.
Right.
But their bedrooms, both bathrooms, the kitchen, everything, water everywhere. Yep. They didn't have a bed frame for one of their beds, so one of their beds was just on the floor, completely soaked, absorbed a lot of water. I get in there, I start throwing down towels. I had some, like, when you're in a panic and you just suddenly gain so much clarity of like everything around you. Yep. I immediately knew this company that I had shot a video of before that like they protect from water damage like after it's happened, or like they bring in the big industrial fans and like blow it down or whatever. Yeah. So there you go. So I call them. They're like, and it was unfortunate because like I had to call the company I had shot with. They're like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry, we're booked. But here, call this person. We trust them. They'll help you out. Called them. They're booked. They're swamped. So then I call them back. I finally get a company, but they're like an hour and a half away. So they're coming. So I get cups, and I start scooping up water and just dumping it in the sink. Scooping up water, dumping it in the sink. Mm-hmm. It is at this point that the renters, who their family are friends with the people who are downstairs, alert to me that water is leaking downstairs through their ceiling, Steven, through their ceiling.
Yeah.
So I've got a big problem on my hands. So it's like I call the people and I'm like, you need to get here now. There is water leaking. And like my renters were just like, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? I was like, I've called a company to come do this. I have no idea what we need to do. I'm just scooping water because in my mind, any water I can get out of here is just it's not going down there. It's not going down there. I don't really know how much damage I averted, but I did scoop a lot of water. I wish I had put it in a bucket so I could have like quantified. Anyway, people come, they get us going. They got fans going. Downstairs is a wreck. Okay, I got off easy. All right, downstairs was a mess, really bad. So what ended up happening, they had to rip up all of my floors, again, except for that living room because the living room's fine. Yeah. Kitchen floors, bedroom floors, bathroom floors, all ripped up. Had to be dried for like 3 days. Ooh. Downstairs, they had to rip out their ceiling and dry up. And then they had a couple holes, not holes, but like spots where the walls had started to like kind of peel away. So they had to patch those and dry those. Anyway, everything was fine. No permanent structural damage was done, okay? Mm-hmm. They've got to get a new ceiling. I had to get a new floor. So I now know how to lay floor. I know how to work with wood floors. I know how to work with like a linoleum, like tile, fake rubber tile with plastic and stuff. Yeah. I know how to use an oscillating saw. I learned so many life lessons today. But the most important one, this is the last lesson I'm going to teach all of you. Effing get insurance, okay? And get good insurance, all right? Because my insurance agent told me when I bought this, I said, hey, we've got an HOA that's over a bunch of these condos. Mm-hmm. They have an insurance policy on the building. If the building blows up, and it's not anybody's particular fault, it happened like from an outside source. If someone shot a rocket at our building and it blew up, the HOA would pay for, or the insurance would pay for it. Yeah. If I blew up something in my home, then it would be a problem. Or if I caught a fire, whatever, or flooded, whatever, then it's my fault. But my insurance agent was like, just get your renters to get insurance and you'll be fine. Mm-hmm. So I required that my renter have renter's insurance. Yes. That only covers their property within the home, not the home. Yep. So I have had to pay for most of this either out of pocket or we're putting it on a credit card to slowly pay off later. Yeah. Anyway, effing ridiculous. But I have been in crisis mode. That happened on a Wednesday. I was in crisis mode from a Wednesday to a Wednesday. Literally for a solid week. I was just everything blowing and going.
Everything channel-wise for you was just completely put on pause.
Yep. Because Steven was like, hey, we're going to live stream tonight. I was like, I can't. Yeah. I am in crisis mode. Somebody called me while I was in, like, when it first happened. Like, I was standing in an inch of water trying to figure out what to do. Somebody called me. Oh, it was the people who were delivering some furniture for me to our home. And she was like, hey, can we deliver it on Monday? And I was like, yes, that's fine. That's going to be fine. Yes, sure, whatever. Could not do it Monday. That was not a thing I could have done. But in the moment, I was just like, nope, I can't even think about this. So anyway, yes, Steven would ask me, hey, we doing a live stream? I was like, I can't. I'm not in it. And Are we doing a podcast? No, we can't.
And I wasn't pushing. It was just like,
you were just like, hey, what's up?
How we doing? We good?
What's the 411? Yeah. But anyway, so if you buy property, buy the first floor. If you don't F with water and then insure yourself because it'll bite you in the butt. All in all, it was a pretty sucky situation, and it did cause me to be in panic mode for a while. But we got brand new floors. The floors look great, which is one of the things we wanted to do in the condo anyway. Before we sold it, not sell it, but rented it. But we just didn't have time. There was no permanent structural damage done, and honestly, the bill is expensive, but it wasn't something that we couldn't handle. Like we had.
My understanding was that you were expecting much worse than it was.
I was expecting like $25,000 worth of damage, and we are like way under that. Yeah, like I don't think we're going to exceed $1,500, but I haven't gotten the final bill from downstairs yet. I'm done. I've done everything I got to do for mine. But anyway, crazy crap. So that's why we didn't have a Let's Play last week. That's why we didn't have a podcast last week. I apologize. I'm sorry, but I was there for a stream Thursday when that all came back when I came out of it, and Friday. So there you go. You know, get off my ass. I'm just here, okay? And this is ChortleCast, the official podcast of Chortle Games, where we talk about video games, TV shows, movies, anime, and apparently Jake...
make conspiracy theories about water, the real enemy.
I'm telling you, man, I never thought... Oh, man, it's bad. It's bad. Or like, if you're gonna just number one, don't F with water. But if you're gonna be stupid and F with water, at least monitor it, right? Like, I sat there for probably 30 minutes and watched it, but like, do not leave your house after performing some sort of.
If there's anything you're doing with water,
you need to be there for.
It needs to be monitored.
Yes, for at least a day.
Yeah.
And I mean, no exaggeration. That's just.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, but I just had to get all that out, lay some hard truth on you. Now we can have fun. Today we're going to talk about Destiny 2. We're going to have fun.
Wait, that's fun for us?
I was like, well, wait a minute, are we going to have fun? We're going to talk about some Destiny 2. We're going to talk about some Anthem news, and then we'll, I guess that's really the catch-up. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh, gosh.
Steven got me into Fire
Emblem. It happened.
That he got me in. I'm hooked now. I'm ready to. In fact, I should have started a download before we started this podcast, but that's okay.
Yeah,
I'm ready to play.
We recorded a Let's Play. We've
been recording some Let's Plays. We recorded a Fire Emblem Let's Play that's going to be up this week. Actually, that'll be this week's Let's Play. So,
and I knew going in that Jake was going to love it, but I was just sitting back there, just like every single thing he did, I was just like, yeah, it's good, isn't it?
I was surprised by how much I enjoyed the combat, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the student interactions.
And you barely scratched the surface on.
Oh, I know.
And like, I'm telling you, it's addicting. They're very well. I don't want to say written, because I don't know if that's the word for it, but like,
they're easy to fall in love with.
They're easy to fall in love with,
or really, really hate.
Edelgard.
I tried to talk to Edelgard, and Steven was like, "No, get out of this room. We are not." There was something I was supposed to like cook or something, and I was like, "Oh, I can cook with Edelgard," and you were like, "No, I refuse. No, we're not doing that." Yes. So anyway, it was a great time.
I've been playing more Fire Emblem in my playthrough. Still not at the end because I've been doing other things, but I'm very close. I might be on the last chapter.
I've been doing this mostly, but I have, since I've overcome all of this, I've been back on that Destiny armor grind. I got my armor, got my Solstice armor, so I'm full on flame now.
I got my Bad Juju Catalyst.
You got Bad Juju Catalyst. I'm really excited that you got that. I didn't think it was going to happen.
I'm excited. Well, okay, let's talk about Destiny 2.
Okay, so we'll start with there. So to dive in, a lot of Destiny news has happened this week. Number one, we've gotten, what did he call those? Director Cut?
Developer Diary, I think.
Developer Diaries from Luke, what's his last name?
Smith.
Luke Smith, with Bungie. Basically just talking about state of the game, kind of a look back at what has happened.
It was year 2, like, retrospective.
Yes, it was kind of like the last 6 months, I think is what he said, or something like that. And so they talked a lot about what has happened, how things used to be compared to how they are now, and then kind of what they're doing with Shadowkeep going forward. And then also we had a live stream for Armor 2.0, which is going to be all the new armor changes that they have in Destiny coming in Shadowkeep.
So let's start with Armor 2.0. Since I think we're probably not going to talk as much about part 1 of Luke's diary.
Right.
So Armor 2.0, they did a stream where they had a group of Guardians that were showcasing how armor works now.
Yep.
And so all armor in the game, and this is good news.
How it's going to work in Shadowkeep.
This is when Shadowkeep drops. Nothing that currently exists in your inventory is swapping over. Only newly acquired loot is going to be Armor 2.0. So Armor 1.0 is still going to exist.
And it's still going to work.
Yes.
All your current mods, all your current whatever,
but
your masterworks, they're going to be fine, and they're still going to do what they say they do.
Right. Exotics, though, this kind of sucks. If you want an Armor 2.0 exotic, you have to reacquire it, and the reacquisition through the collections has a fixed role.
Right.
So you have to reacquire the exotic role that you already had, which kind of sucks. But on the bright side of things, they did confirm that every single legendary armor in the game is going to have a 2.0 variant.
Yep.
So and that pleases a lot of people because the planetary armor, for example, a lot of it's really cool.
Yeah.
And you will love that Callus Raid cape.
Yeah, I bumped into somebody playing Gambit wearing it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Especially with the Solstice armor, because I've decided I don't like the Solstice of Heroes cape.
Yeah.
But I did find a really good look where, like, basically I've got, I forget what shader it's called, but it's the all black and gold that you get from Eververse.
Midnight Talon?
Maybe, something like that.
Oh,
it's got a little texture to it. A little shiny.
Golden Trace.
That's it. Golden Trace. I've got that on every piece, except for maybe my helmet, because my helmet was just kind of hidden anyway, so it was like, I'll just pick a color that works. Yeah. I've got that on everything, and then I've got, like, New Monarchy, like, bright-ass red and gold on the cape. And I was like, I like how regal this makes it look, but I just don't like this cape as much, because, like, I don't wear a helmet when I'm on the tower, but if I have the cape, those glows that are on the front of my hood are still there, and it looks like I've got bunny ears that are, like, right here on my face, like right here. Not like here, like they're here.
If they were here, they'd be okay.
If they were here, I'd be all for it, but it's right here. So so that's a little bit annoying. So I started switching to, like, right now I'm using I'm using Cade's cape. But if I could get that other one that I wanted anyway and just make that a bright, like this color red.
Yeah. I'd be up for trying
stuff. I'm at this point I can wait till 2.0 and then we can get a squad and we can just do that same mission again.
So
raid again, whatever.
The way armor works now is that armor has an energy level. And the energy level goes from 0 to 10. You put in legendary shards, enhancement cores, blah 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 blah, to level it up.
And then there's a new material, I forget what it's called. It's like something with an A, shards.
Yeah. I don't think it's Ascendant Shards.
It is Ascendant Shards.
Ascendant Shards?
I'm pretty sure it was that.
So the energy level for the armor is what determines how many mods you can put in. Like a really good mod might be worth 5 energy.
Right.
And so you're getting to not only take armor that you really like, the appearance of, but you're also able to pick and choose what perks it has, which is a really welcome change. Also, they're bringing back intellect, discipline, and strength, which intellect increases super regen, discipline increases grenade regen, and strength increases melee regen. But here's the issue that I kind of noticed, and I probably mentioned this to you a few times.
Because we already can affect those things. It's just not in those
It's not in a stat that we can directly increase. And all armor will have a stat value to it, so you don't have to be like, I'm going to put all strength on this and have 0 discipline. Everything it'll have a little bit with each
of something already.
They showed in this stream a woman playing a warlock with Getaway Artist, which is the Arc Soul glove that I also use.
Right.
And she was like, okay, I'm going to go really high into discipline. I think she had 90 out of 100, so I think it was a score of 9 because it's on a 10-point scale. And she was like, I got a score of 9 on here, and I got my grenade cooldown down to 37 seconds. And I heard that, and I was like, 37 seconds with 9 out of 10 discipline. That is the best you can do. I feel like I do better than that now. And maybe I'm wrong. I haven't checked the numbers.
Where did she see that? Was that an indication somewhere, or was she just saying that?
She had an indication. I think you actually get in the character sheet indications of cooldowns and stuff now.
Interesting.
And so my worry, and a lot of what I'm going to say today about Destiny, is speculation, cynicism.
That's the thing I think I'm most frustrated about is they've done this like literally novels, like it's a 3-part novel of information. But it's all so vague.
Yep.
And like it's funny, Luke Smith at the beginning, he was like, he's like, this is going to be the state of the game, whatever. I'm really excited about this. Let me know if you want it in a different format, or like, does this work? I want it in a video format.
Yeah.
I want to see what you're talking about, because otherwise it comes across very vague. But anyway, sorry.
And the Armor 2.0 stream was that level of detail.
Yes.
So she said 37 seconds, and I was like, man, that doesn't sound good. That just sounds really weak.
Yeah.
And so I'm having this thought now where it's like,
you really should test and see how fast.
I should do that. But my thought right now is, if going into this new Armor 2.0, if they have not increased the amount that we can do things, like if they have not made it to where I can get my melee or my grenade to a faster cooldown than I could with Armor 1.0, then it's a failure.
Right.
Just a failure.
Yeah. And they're talking a lot about, we want to give you freedom of customization and separate the mechanics from the aesthetics, which I think they've made great strides in, because during that stream, you know, they had their Solstice armor or whatever. They all started with that on.
Yeah.
And then one dude, the hunter, he was like, I don't really like this cape. So like he went into where like a section you would normally put an ornament.
Right.
And he just had a selection of capes, and he just was like, "Oh, I love this one,"
and it looked like it made it to where Eververse armor is ornaments now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's all armor or
that was unclear to me too, because you were like, "Oh, that was all Eververse stuff," and
the only ones that I recognized were
Eververse stuff. Yeah.
So maybe I just
I feel like somewhere they said it is going to be Eververse stuff.
Yeah.
But
which would make sense.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. That would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Because that's where you would go for cosmetics and stuff. But it would just kind of suck. Like, I really like my cape, but I really like the stats I'm getting from my Solstice cape. Right. So wouldn't it just be great if I could just flip that over? And also, the thing that I was kind of frustrated about is, like, they have this system in place where I am using the Solstice armor as a base, and I can change an ornament to it, but I still can't use my glow on the ornament.
The texture's different.
I know, but it's like, man, I have this glow. I've worked hard for it. I've paid for it. Let me use it.
That's why we told you not to do it.
Well, I paid for it through gameplay, but still. Yeah. Anyway, they've made strides in that.
Right.
But when like you're saying, everything else just seems like we're going to end up in the same place or worse. Right. Just with a different way of doing it.
They keep using that, like, we want you to be able to customize your style of play, but they keep saying that wording, and I'm over here just thinking, like,
I can already do that.
I can already do that. I care more about whether my customization is effective and not so much how many times I can choose that I want my grenade. I don't want to be able to choose that my grenade has faster cooldown more if it's not going to be as important of a choice as choosing once or twice in the old mode.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's just
then it's more tedious.
It's more tedious, and it's manipulative.
Yeah.
It makes us think that we're more powerful than we actually are, and I don't know. That's.
I'm hoping that there are going to be mods that we haven't seen yet, because they did talk a little bit about that.
Right.
That are going to make it crazy. Yeah. Like we are going to get, like, I think the most energy any of those used was like 4. So maybe we will get a 5 mod that's just effing bananas and can do something crazy or have some crazy effect on it. But I don't know, or even maybe it's not a 5 energy, maybe it's just a 1 energy, but you had to earn it through this specific event or moment, and then that's how you get that mod. So I don't know, it could go other places. My thing, and the reason that I'm just kind of like, is because I'm hearing what you're saying of, like, well, I can already do this, and why this is just different. I might not can do what I'm doing here because it's different, whatever. I'm over here like I've never gotten to the point. Really, until now, and like Black Armory, I've never hit the point where, like, I got to power level and then was like, cool, let me find the pieces of armor I like, and then, okay, cool, let me get a good roll on this. Okay, cool, now let me start investing in this piece. Like, I never get that far.
Right.
And, like, I feel like I play Destiny a lot.
Yeah, you do.
But, like, it's just crazy to me that, like, there are people that, like, they get to that point in a day. And are like, okay, cool, now how am I going to start min-maxing this? Like, for me, it's just get to power level, peak of power level, great. Now find a look that I like, great. Now find the perfect roll for this look that I like, great. Now start modding and stuff. And so, like, even once I got my armor, I was messing around with mods, and I was putting in shaders. I was like, all right, I am locked in. Like, this is what I'm going to do. I was selecting, the natural abilities and stuff. And, like, I saw a difference. Like, it was like I put in a lot on melee, and I was getting my knives almost instantly all the time. Yeah. And so that sort of stuff is going to be good. It's just, like, where I'm at in the game and where I'm usually at in the game is nowhere near that point yet. Yeah. So, and we'll get to power level in a minute.
We're going to get there. And last thing I'll mention in the stream about the stream, because the stream, once they did all the customization and everything, it was just them running through.
They ran through a strike, yeah.
Something that made me scream.
Scoot over this way a little bit.
Yeah, scream for joy actually happened on this stream.
Oh, yeah.
They had a hunter with them, and he was like, I'm actually going to show you guys some Night Stalker gameplay. And I was like, okay. Okay. Which one? He was like, the bottom tree. And I was like, oh, my God, that's Pathfinder. Oh, my gosh, what? And then he was like, we've actually buffed all Void classes. And it was just like, finally happened. So they made it to where Heart of the Pack is the focal point of bottom tree Night Stalker. It makes it to where for every Heart of the Pack stack, everyone that is around you gets increased mobility, resilience, and recovery. That's obviously going to scale differently, hopefully, in Shadowkeep. But the way you got those stacks was by killing void tethered enemies. So it was your super. Right. And the only way you could get it was your super. They have made it to where making allies invisible gives them Heart of the Pack now.
Ah, okay.
So also, damaging enemies with the smoke grenade gives you grenade energy, and damaging enemies with your grenade gives you smoke grenade energy.
That's good.
So you can bounce your abilities back and forth.
Both, yeah.
So it's a lot more of an ability-centric class, and that sounds amazing. So I was really happy about that. They even said they were buffing the super damage.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then Titan is getting Weapons of Light back for the Ward of Dawn. People are really happy about that. We're actually going to see people running Ward of Dawn effectively. Maybe. But then, let's talk about...
So let's get into the dev diaries and stuff that Luke Smith wrote. I can't remember what the first day. You should, if you're a Destiny fan and you really care about this, go read them. Go look at them, because there are things he talks about that you're probably going to look at and be like, oh, okay, this isn't that bad or whatever. The only things that we're going to remember are the things that we didn't like and are afraid of.
Yeah,
because we started to pull stuff up, and I was just like, "There's way too much to go into." So we're just gonna kind of skim, unfortunately, skim the negatives.
Yeah,
but
and we're going off of memory, so like if we're dead wrong, we're not claiming.
Blast Steven in the chat.
Blast me in the chat. This is just me going off of what I remember, and I read through it once. I read a few things multiple times, but I got pretty heated because a lot of this just felt so out of touch and just wrong. So let's start. In part one of the things he mentioned was the Well of Radiance Warlock, and he said, right now, as you guys know, the Well of Radiance Warlock with Phoenix Protocol basically turns you into an unkillable god holding all 6 Infinity Stones at the same time.
Yeah. And Steven and I both were just like,
what game are you playing?
Like, what mode are you in?
Like, seriously, because he said that, and it was like, and that's a problem. And I'm just like,
is it?
Every single time I've used the Well of Radiance in a pug, not every single time, but most of the time, no one gives a crap. Everyone's doing their own thing because they're just like, oh, that's cool. Have fun in your little well, buffing your own damage while I'm over here firing an electric laser beam out of my hand.
Right.
And so I heard that, and I was like, one, yes, it makes us hard to kill.
Right.
But I've gotten killed in the Well of Radiance plenty of times.
I have too.
Plenty of times. But, of course, he was referring to PvP, because, of course, he was, and that's going to be a theme of this. But when he said that, not only did I think, I've been killed in PvE in the Well of Radiance several times,
right,
but also every activity where the Well of Radiance matters, you're expecting people to constantly move.
Right.
So it's useless.
Yeah.
It's good in a pinch for like hold the focal point kind of stuff,
or like we're about to do a massive amount of damage.
Right.
Let us drop it down. Like just this week, I was playing Gambit for some Solstice Armor stuff, and I was in a team. I assumed these two people knew each other, were in a clan or something, or were in voice chat or whatever. But one of them had Well of Radiance, and one of them was a Sentinel Titan, and he had that big wall shield that buffs attack damage going out. So we got to the Primeval. Boy pops as well. Boy pops the Sentinel and gets in front. I'm back there with Hammerhead. I don't know where the third guy is, but we didn't effing need him because me just doing the damage, or well, I guess technically the Warlock who was standing in the well as well. Whatever we were both doing through that shield to the boss, creamed him.
Remember that story.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that story because we're about to talk later in the podcast about why that can't happen anymore.
Oh, yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
So, Well of Radiance Warlock. Yes, you make a healing area that's really effective, that increases damage by 15%?
Yeah, something like that.
But you are asking the player who is running Well of Radiance to sacrifice the ability to do something like Chaos Reach for the Warlock, which is some of the highest damage you can do in the game right now. Or Void Warp, which is the most overpowered super in the game right now. Or the Hunter with his Blade Barrage. He can shred a boss in 1 second with that thing. So what if my team is hard to kill? I earned that because I can't do anything else.
I'm making that sacrifice.
Which we're going to talk about support builds later because they absolutely cut support players at the knees.
But I think that was the first example of whatever game Luke Smith is playing is not the same game that we're playing.
It's not the one we're playing. Because every single thing he said, well, I say every single thing. Most of the things he said when it was coming to like players are too powerful, the challenge isn't hard enough, was like, it felt like he was playing a completely different game. Or he was just describing PvP, which we all know he was just describing PvP.
Yeah.
That was his first example for everything.
Let's move on to some specifics. So the last one I think probably had the most disappointing news of all.
Oh my gosh, part 3
is pretty rough.
I got
Steven was pretty
pissed.
heated. I know you were heated in part 2 as well, but I can't remember exactly what it was about. So let's just start with 3 because that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll remember. But so they come in and he starts talking.
I'm just gonna check our text thread while you're doing.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I know so basically he comes in and he starts talking about power level, right? And how he called it like the 9,000 or the $999,999 problem or whatever.
Yeah.
Where basically our damage units, because of our current power level, are at a point that like they cannot get any higher. Like the game cannot read them as any more damaging. And so he kind of talked about that to kind of set up what he was getting to, which is power level is going to go up to 950 with, I think it's 950. Well, actually, I don't think that's right. 950 is the new soft cap,
I think.
And then you can go beyond that. I'm assuming to 10,000. I don't know. Who knows? That's the new soft cap of power.
Yeah.
But everything in the game is going to be raised to 750.
Yeah.
So like if you're grinding hard right now, or even if you're a 750 player, but now you're starting to 750 all your gear, like just stop. Stop. Just
if
wait
it's
till
not
October.
something you're using actively, just
wait.
don't do it. Because like even your characters that you haven't touched since Warmind are going to be 750 when Shadowkeep drops.
Yep.
Everything they're equipped with.
I have abandoned my Warlock and my Titan Artemis. I'm Artemis. I'm Artemis, bitch.
Did you get Stronghold from Xur? It's a sword-focused Titan glove that makes it where blocking doesn't require ammo.
Oh, I should
You totally
get that.
should. You should make Artemis a sword Titan.
Man, but I don't know. I have gone so far that I was just like, I'm never gonna see. They're dead. They're gone. They've fallen in love and left the galaxy. You know, they're gone. They don't exist anymore. My hunter is over here trying to save the world by himself.
Yeah.
I now have the option of I could realistically get Artemis back in, but my problem is like once we get to that point, sure, Artemis could be there, but then I'm not gonna have the time to do everything twice.
Yep.
And to keep moving through. So, but at the very least, I could get gear as my hunter and toss it back to Artemis and maybe whatever. Anyway, so everything is going to be 750. Everything is going to jump up to 750. So if you've got a couple guns that you're like, oh, I'll level them up, whatever, just don't. Just wait.
Yeah, save your enhancement cores.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Save. Use them. Oh my gosh. Everyone needs to be running the EAZ right now and getting Solstice packages because during my getting my blue Solstice armor, I was instructed not to open any Solstice packages because once you have your legendary Solstice armor, you can get re-rolls of it through the Solstice packages.
Oh.
So I had like 60 Solstice packages and probably 1,000 keys. Like I was to the max of keys.
Yep.
So I just started burning through things. Almost every other box was 2 masterwork cores or enhancement cores or whatever.
That's nice.
So I walked away with like 15 enhancement cores, not to mention I had a bunch of legendary gear and rerolls of my armor.
Right.
That I dismantled and got 1 or 2 more masterwork cores out of. So if you're just sitting here like I don't really know what to do in the game right now, like just go burn EAZ and get those things before whatever. Anyway, where was I going with that? So the power level is being raised.
Yes.
Basically, we're being reset at 0.
Yep.
And being given a 200 power level climb.
Yeah.
And so then he started talking about how power leveling was going to work. I remember when we first started playing Destiny 2, you guys were explaining to me how, we were trying to get me to power level, right? And I was horrible at the game at that time. So y'all were trying to explain to me, like, we can get you this high, but then, like, once you're at this point, the soft cap, there's really nothing, like, we're really going to, like, we'll have to take you to raids, or we'll have to do something crazy to get you to power level. Yeah. And it was just kind of like, okay, well, we're we may at some point get there. Like, we tried the Leviathan raid once, and that didn't go very well.
Disaster.
But to be fair, I was horrible at the game at that point. I was basically being dragged along and occasionally doing something. Anyway, whatever. Then I think, I don't know if it was Forsaken or even just like the DLCs that came out after, I feel like it was a lot easier for me to get to the hard cap of like 750 or 650 or whatever. And especially when we got into Forsaken, it was like, boom, I'm there, boom, I'm there, boom, I'm there. And they added things where, like, when we started Menagerie, neither one of us had touched the Drifter stuff.
Yep.
But we instantly got to 690, and we were ready to go. Yep. So they're going to continue to do those sorts of things, but to a soft cap now. And like, if you really want to get to, I guess it's going to be 10,000, you have to do pinnacle activities like raids or nightfalls or we don't know.
We know that raids will be
one of them. He said redacted. So now, don't get me wrong. I'm all about doing raids. I would like to do more raids. I know they frustrate you, and they are frustrating. But it's frustrating when you don't have a good team, and we've gotten to that point now where we are starting to form a good team.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can do more, but like, it's such a time.
It's another form of RNG that we can't control, and we're already doing RNG through what gear are we going to get, and so it's like expecting us to reach the end of the game, to reach what we're supposed to get to, expecting us to touch every corner of the game is wrong.
Yeah.
And that is a big theme with Bungie right now when it comes to them doing grinds, and we're going to talk about this here in just a minute about the Bad Juju Catalyst.
Right.
That expected you to touch every corner of the game. Solstice Armor expected you to touch every corner of the game. And there are certain things fine, but like...
Grinding for that through Gambit, I think I told you this story, but I was just playing. And like, I'm not the best at the game, especially not PvE, because that's just, I can't compete. And so, which is why I like Gambit, because I can PvE it a little bit. But anyway, whatever. I was coming in at like second or third in my group. I was not the bottom. All right. I'm in a match. We're going through. I get to one side, and I've got like 13 motes, and then the enemies run out, and I have to go to the next place. In my head, and I've listened to people say with like Gambit strategy, like, if you're that close, go get it and go home. Like, take it back. Like, don't deposit 13 if you could have deposited 15. I've heard people say that.
Strong disagreement.
I know you disagree with it because we've had this conversation. But anyway, so I went over. I popped 2 guys, and I'm having some trouble because I'm getting a lot of heat. So I'm just trying to get those pieces. I get 1, I get 2, I got 15. Invader shows up. I'm ducking and covering. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to fight it. One of my guys comes up and like punches me and is like trying to get me to go. But it's like, dude, I can't because the invader's there. And I know he was trying to say, like, go deposit before the invader gets here. It's like, the invader's already here. Whatever, anyway.
And he's watching that bank.
Yeah.
He's waiting for you.
I get killed. Yep. I think the invader came and killed me. Whatever. We won that round, okay? That's the most important thing. We won the round, okay? Yep. It did not matter in the grand scheme of things. This dude, in the middle, like in the halftime or whatever, he comes over to me and just punches me the whole match, or the whole while we're there. And I'm just twirling my little lightning staff that I got, and I'm just like, really, dude? Like, what is your problem? Like, we won, whatever. Anyway, so it's just like, why do I have to go through that if I don't want to? You know, like, it's one thing if I'm loving it.
Bungie doesn't value your time.
Right.
That is something that they hold absolutely zero value in. They are like, if you're gonna do anything that matters in this game, it's like you're gonna do the main grinds, you're gonna play the whole game.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not. And that's dumb.
Yeah.
But Bad Juju was especially bad with that. It took me 3 weeks of doing basically nothing else in the game except for doing that, and a lot of it I exploited. Right. I had my 3 little sisters come over to my apartment. Crucible, they were taking turns playing Crucible for me, even though they didn't know what they were doing.
Did they win any rounds?
No. They got maybe 2 kills amongst all of them. But it's just bad.
Yeah.
And then So part 2 was more about the power level grind and how they're making power more seasonal.
Yes, and so that was the other thing. So, so power is going to be seasonal. They talked a little bit about seasons, and the other thing he talked about was just like the game is huge right now, and I don't necessarily disagree. It is crazy to think about what the game was when we started at year 2 or at Destiny 2 period to where we are now. I mean, we didn't even have Gambit. Now we have Gambit Prime, and the Reckoning. And then we've got the Menagerie. We've got a bunch of raids. There's a ton in the game. We've got the Black Armory stuff. We've got I think I already said Menagerie, but like there's a lot of different modes you can do, and like there's some that I'm just not touching anymore because I've moved on past, or I've decided it's a lost cause or whatever.
Right.
And so what he was saying was, Shadowkeep is going to be, what is that, season 8? I think whatever. It's going to be its season, all right? Some narratively even, and I'm excited about this because I didn't really like Forsaken. We had a narrative, right? That's where we saw Cade happen, and then whatever, and then Drifter. We got a narrative. I haven't finished through that yet.
No one knows what the heck it means.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get to all of that, but it requires playing Gambit, so that's a hard thing. So he talked a lot about like keeping the narrative moving. So whatever's going to happen with Shadowkeep and the Moon is going to happen in that season. And then when we come to what would be the Black Armory next season or whatever's happening in Shadowkeep will be resolved, and we'll set up whatever the next DLC or DLC annual whatever season is going to be. And then that season will happen, and it will be resolved, and then we'll move on. And he mentioned it talking about activities as well. So we assume, obviously, we're getting the Moon, right? I don't think the Moon is just going to poof. Bye, Moon.
Planets are going to stay.
Planets will probably stay. That's a waste of resources, whatever. But I'm sure whatever basic planetary activities or events, like if there was an escalation protocol type activity on the Moon, I'm sure that's not going to go away.
Actually, that's probably what would go away.
Really? You think so?
I would think so, because like what they would, an event that happens in a public space.
Yeah.
That they don't have to design a new area for.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they would probably give us for seasonal.
Really? Interesting.
That's what I would think, because that's the easiest to just plug in.
I agree with you. That makes sense. But what I was picturing was something like the Menagerie of like, because it's not brand new spaces. A lot of them are like parts of the Leviathan that you're revisiting from either boss fights or whatever. I feel like stuff like that, like say they introduce a Menagerie type thing in Shadowkeep. When Shadowkeep is over, that activity may no longer be available.
Right.
Which is sad because we love Menagerie, right? We've talked about we need to be playing more of it. I hope we can do. I want to do that this week if we play Destiny.
Yes.
I want to do heroic,
Jeremy
and I want to get that sword.
One. We need to get.
Well, we got to get Jeremy going, and then we got to do a heroic. We can end on a heroic. I can get a sword. It'll be a great time. So we, I would hate it if we came across and it's like, oh yeah, Menagerie's gone, or even Black Armory. Like I haven't played a lot of Black Armory since I've been going after the grind for the armor. I haven't done. I was doing Izanami every once in a while to get in the new bow, trying to get a perfect roll. But anyway, it would just be sad to see those go. But I understand what he's talking about.
Sorry for the yawning. But
to some degree, I'm kind of like, can't you just add more hard drive space? Like can we not do something to make it bigger? But I understand. You get to the full hard drive, you either got to delete stuff or you got to get another hard drive. Yeah. And they're just at the point where they got to delete stuff, Yeah. So maybe it won't be that after next year, but who knows? Yeah.
I don't like the idea of, like, having to re-earn my power each season.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. So the artifact. The artifact is a new item that it's not new. It wasn't Destiny 1, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're getting this thing called the artifact, and it's going to be an extra piece of gear that will have a power level and can actually boost you past whatever your regular power level is.
Yes.
And it's an item that you're not gonna get. Oh, look, here's another artifact. Or this artifact's blue. This artifact's whatever.
Right.
Like you're gonna have your artifact, and then you can upgrade it.
It's got its own skill tree progression.
Right.
Kind of. Yeah.
And so all season you'll be working on that, getting it to wherever, and letting it do whatever it'll do for you.
Yeah.
Which I'm curious to know what is that gonna be like, because if it's just raising my power level 10 and maybe helping my grenade boost, it's like, whatever, that's not a big deal. But like if it's doing something crazy
They
where
said
like I get 2 charges of my super every time I get it,
Lord knows they're never going to do that. We'll talk about that in a minute.
They've said that it's like having an extra exotic.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm curious what that's going to be. But they've said, you're going to spend all season working on that artifact.
And it's gone.
Probably not all season, but like you're gonna work on it for like probably the first couple weeks.
I would not be surprised if they built it to where
really takes
anyone less than the hardcores that they assume is a representative for every player
are gonna take forever.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, period. Whatever. You get that built up. The season ends. That artifact goes away.
Yep.
Here's your new artifact, and we're assuming that artifact is. This would be really stupid. Well, I'm assuming that. Oh, hey, sorry. Glad you had fun with this artifact. We're chunking that out. Here's a new artifact. It does something new. Have fun leveling that up, and then you level that up. Yada yada. What would be super dumb if it's like, hey, here's this artifact you worked really hard on in this season. I'm going to delete everything on it and give it right back to you. You can rebuild it you can rebuild it differently, or you can rebuild it exactly the same as you had it, but nothing has changed.
It'll
you know
be
what
different
I mean?
artifacts.
Hopefully it'll be different, but you don't get to keep them, and that's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. So the other thing, they talked about weapons and gears, and I assume exotics that are gonna be present either via activities that are going to be gone in a season or whatever, and those will become available later. So, like, if you're a collector, like our boy McCoy or me, a little bit, just a little bit. You like, what if I couldn't play this? What if another game like Anthem was out and I was really focusing on Anthem? Like, you're not going to lose that opportunity. I'm kind of frustrated both ways because part of me is like, what's the point of playing the game now to get those if 3 months from now, I can just get them from a random drop.
Yeah.
Which, like, oh, well, sure, you could have had them for 3 months while you were playing the game or what. Anyway, I don't know, whatever. So that's all annoying. Then they talk about supers.
Okay. Part 3. Guys, I was not
Steven was
okay
not
with
happy.
any of this.
Steven was not
I was
happy.
reading this
I messed up on day 3, right?
Yeah.
On day 1, I read the article,
Uh-huh.
I copied the link, and I sent it to Steven.
Yeah.
I said, let me know what you think. And I'd get updates.
Yep.
It's day 2, same thing, get updates. Day 3, I just sent the link to Steven first. And he was messaging me before I was getting to things. And it was just like, oh my gosh.
So, let's start with the top. So, Luke Smith talked about how, like, the whole damage numbers, the 999,999 problem.
We covered most of 3. I think. But yeah, go ahead, sorry.
This is in regard to buffs.
Okay, all right. Oh, yeah, I forgot about buffs.
So, one of his solutions for the multiplicative, or
the numbers,
the numbers,
like we can't go any higher,
was nerfing all buffs. My understanding of this... And debuffs. My understanding of this is that buffs can only stack once.
So, in the situation I described with Gambit, if somebody popped the Well of
Well of Radiance.
Dawn of Radiance, that's what I almost just said. And then they had the Sentinel Shield that you could shoot through, and the shield amplifies outgoing damage.
Only the highest value would apply.
Yes.
Which would probably be the Sentinel Shield. So your bullets coming out of Well of Radiance would be at, let's say, a plus 15%. And if the Sentinel Shield shooting through it is a plus 15%, my understanding of this is that the bullet would be 20% going out.
Right.
And that might be different because the Sentinel Shield technically isn't a buff.
Right.
But I wouldn't be surprised. But what that does mean is, for example, the Phoenix Protocol, the Well of Radiance Warlock has the Healing Grenade, Well of Radiance, and the Empower Melee. So what has been the case in the past is I can drop my Well of Radiance. An enemy comes in the Well of Radiance. I pop him with my Empowered Melee. All of my allies have both the Well of Radiance damage increase and the Empowered damage increase.
Right.
Gone.
Now it's only going to do one.
Now it's only going to do one or the other. So they have literally made it to where not only can you stack support builds together, support characters are going to be playing against themselves.
Right.
So, like, if you have a Ward of Dawn Titan who's using Weapons of Light with his Ward of Dawn, and then you've got a Phoenix Protocol Warlock, Well of Radiance Warlock over here, They can't have both.
Right.
The healing for Well of Radiance will still happen.
Right.
But as soon as they get in there, Weapons of Light is going to override the damage bonus of Well of Radiance. And I read that, and I was just thinking, Luke Smith, what planet are you on where you think that your game's problem, the reason that people are blowing through your game so easily, is because of those few people that increase damages by like 10, 15, 20, 30%.
Right.
And I said this to Jake. I said this to you. I said, think about every time you've won phase the boss.
Yeah.
Every single time you've won phase the boss in a strike. How many of those times was it because someone was running Well of Radiance or any kind of support build or Lumina?
Right.
How many times was it even because of a super?
Well, yeah.
It is
between exotics or heavy ammo or supers pretty much can one. Some of them can one.
But
phase
most of the time,
boss.
it is those power ammo weapons.
Right.
It's the Thousand Voices, the Whisper of the Worms, the Wordcliff coils, all that kind of stuff. The game is so easy in those situations because they don't realize how powerful those weapons are, or they just don't seem to care. Like, they nerfed Whisper, and it needed that nerf.
Right.
But they're offering legitimate problems. They're saying, here's an issue that the game has. And I'm just like, yeah, you're right.
Okay, all right.
And then they go, like, oh, I'm feeling pretty hungry right now, so I'm going to stab myself in the throat. Like, that's their solution, basically. Like, it makes no sense. Like, you would think when someone says, hey, I'm feeling pretty hungry, I'm going to eat a sandwich.
Let's give them food.
Give them food. But they're like, let's
cut
rip
out their
our throat out.
Let's cut their stomach out. Then it won't hurt anymore.
It's just not connected. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. And then
before you get much further, I do want to specify that weapon buffs are not affected. So like
Rampage.
Rampage, that sort of thing.
Yes.
Those will continue to stack with the buffs that are happening.
He specifically used Lumina as an example for like an outgoing buff, like Blessing of Light in Well Radiance, and they had already made it to where Blessing of the Sky can't even happen in the Well of Radiance, which is stupid. Then he started talking about supers.
Yeah,
and this was my favorite part of this diary because it shows how, I don't know if it's hypocrisy or if it's just he thinks we're idiots. He was talking about how the threshold of like being able to deal damage, instead of if you were 50 light under something you can't deal damage, now it's if you are 100 light you can't deal damage, which is a good change.
Right, yeah, that's great.
But he said, in all of this, we're not looking to nerf you guys. You guys aren't getting nerfed.
Right.
And then the next paragraph he said, in PvP, supers can be up as quick as every 2 minutes. That's not okay. So we're making your Orbs of Light and any kind of super regen less effective.
Yep.
So we're not looking to nerf you. So about that nerf, this is what it is.
We don't want to nerf you, but
we're nerfing you.
Here's how we're nerfing you.
And so I joked earlier, I was like, it felt good to get the Bad Juju Catalyst completed. And I had about an hour and a half where
you could enjoy
I lived in a world where the Bad Juju Bad Juju was actually a good gun. Right. And now they were just like, hey, that gun that we released literally a month ago that you guys have been grinding your hard-earned time into, we just made it worthless. Because that's what they did.
Is it going to be worthless, though? Or, I mean, it could still...
It was already nerfed.
Gotcha.
It was already of less value than it was in Destiny 1. And so were things like Phoenix Protocol and Shards of Galinar, anything that regens super. And so they're going to nerf it even more.
Yeah.
To where if I'm fighting Hive and I can kill 1 million Thrall, and sure, that'll be fine. But great, that's super situational.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do is they're trying to make guns
to make you more strategic about your supers and when you drop them. And
that's what they said.
Right.
They said they wanted to make supers a more strategic choice. But what they mean is supers are messing up the PvP game, so we're just going to mess up supers for everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't hate PvP. I don't personally enjoy PvP. I dislike the Crucible because every time I go into the Crucible, it's because the game is forcing me to do it.
I never go in there unless it's to get the weekly milestone to power level.
And I wouldn't even mind that.
Right.
Like that milestone, like optional rewards that are just another part of the RNG that are rewards I can get elsewhere.
Yep.
That's fine. I'm totally fine with that. But when you're holding this thing hostage and saying, go do this and this and this and
if
this.
you want this weapon, you have to play this match 10,000 times.
And I can understand if it's like something that dominates PvP.
Right.
Like Chaperone, a slug shotgun that you're not going to get as much use out of in PvE as you would PvP. That's fine. Totally understandable. So they're dominating and ruling this game because of PvP when it is not a new concept. It is not a alien concept to balance them separately. Yeah. Guild Wars 1 did it, and Guild Wars 1 is from like 2007. And when he said that, he was like, oh, super regen can be as quick as 2 minutes in PvP. My immediate thought was, okay, make it longer in PvP.
Yeah.
It's literally just changing a value.
Right.
Like, that's all you have to do. You don't have to blanket statement all this stuff, but they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's and for me, the super thing is not as big of a deal just because the way I play, I save my super for a boss, right? Like, I'm not popping off my super every chance I get.
Right.
Because, I don't know, for me, it's like that is the ultimate move. So, like, getting the bad juju, when I just got the gun, I played through that mission you have to do in the Twilight, or not the Twilight, but the
other side.
The other side, playing through that mission, I played it by myself, and like I pretty much I mean, I was way under level, or I don't know about under level, but like it was hard. Like I was getting hit hard, so I was using my super just on anything that was shielded or big that I couldn't just pop off with the power weapon. And so normally I'm saving my super for boss fights and boss encounters. Or I'm just getting swarmed with like tons of enemies, and it's just like bam, super, and it's gone. So that's how I use mine. But like people like you with the Well of Radiance, you are more benefited if you can just drop that constantly.
I make builds. I make builds that are along the lines of I want to use this skill and I want to optimize the efficiency of this skill.
Right.
And so I would love to have a Well of Radiance build where I have a Well of Radiance pretty much all the time.
Right.
And that's kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. But when you slap a unreasonable time limit on every single mode that you give us,
right,
and I don't have a laser beam I can shoot out of my hands, all I can do is create a safe haven and a little bit of weapon damage buff.
Right.
I think I have the right to be able to do that. Because I'm not able to be the finisher of anything. I'm literally just the haven, the damage increase, and that should be okay.
Yeah.
Or with the Night Stalker build I'm wanting to do, it needs to be able to use the super as much as possible to keep Heart of the Pack on the party as much as possible.
Right.
But what they're doing is they're making it to where they're trying to build that mentality where supers are a boss thing. And I think that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's boring. Because, and I mean, we just recorded a Let's Play of it, and as much as I love this game, I mean, it benefits from this mentality, but Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
When you get your extreme move, you save it for the boss. And that's why I'm not too excited about the extreme move. Because like, it's a big hit, but that's all it is, a big hit.
You get
so when you create that mentality of, oh, we want supers to be a more strategic decision, you are just fostering that mentality of save your supers for the boss.
Well, and see, like, to me, Destiny is a power fantasy, and it still is in a lot of ways, but, like...
It's becoming less and less of
when
one.
you start to knock it down because it's like, well, you're too powerful. And see, to me, it's like, why can't we just make the enemies harder? Like, why can't we just scale them up?
Yeah.
Why are we getting nerfed when you could just buff them?
Yep. And
like, because it's not exciting that I can jump into a boss fight, pop Way of 1,000 Cuts, and instantly kill a boss. Like, sure, it's great when I'm just trying to grind through stuff and I'm trying to get to the next thing, but like when we were doing raids and stuff, like, you know, we were putting our maximum effort into fighting that one raid boss that we've done.
Yep.
And like I put on Shards of Gallon. Like I was bringing the business. I wasn't just using a bow. I was using other weapons. Like, that's what I want. I want just that level of challenge.
An example of this, Anthem. And we're going to talk about Anthem in a minute. I said when we did the Cataclysm, when we fought Vara, that's how a good boss fight should feel.
It's just a boss fight.
It's just a boss fight where the boss has moves that you have to find the solution to, memorize, watch the telegraphs, and you have to outmaneuver. You have to find weak points. You have to hit at the right time and everything. And there are supers in Anthem.
Yeah.
And they happen pretty frequently.
Yeah.
Like, they happen really frequently.
And so that's the thing. Like, it's great when it takes me 3 supers to do damage to a boss on top of you doing your super 3 times and Jeremy doing his super. Like, why can't we just have that? Because I get the power fantasy out of using the power, not the fact that power instant kills something.
Yeah, the power fantasy doesn't come in, I win. It comes in, look at what I'm doing. And with Anthem, every time I use my super, which I get it back less than a minute, honestly, with my build, you know, I stand there and I lock on, I've got the screen, I've got the different missiles, and then I fire, and then it's just a missile barrage. It feels great every time I do that.
Yeah.
And on Vara, the damage tick is maybe like that much.
Just a little bit.
It's just a little bit, but
enough. It made a dent.
It made a dent. It was impactful, but it's not gonna. Being able to do that every 30 seconds or so is not gonna make or break me dying.
Right. Exactly.
And that's this is the last thing I'll say about the whole Bungie thing because I am getting heated.
Yeah, we should move on.
We should definitely move on.
We should move on.
But with Bungie, they have this just incredibly false idea, like this just huge misunderstanding of the players, like the players having not enough challenge is the player's fault.
Right.
So you've got these 2 floors, right? Players, enemies.
Right.
Every single time there's a shift in power, it's this.
Right.
It's this every single time. It's not this. It's always us going downward. Their enemy mechanics have basically plateaued. I said this to you that the last time they changed difficulty in the game was when they added the Scorn.
Yep.
And the Scorn
they had different moves.
Yeah.
They're technically fallen that have died and been reborn or whatever.
But they fight completely different.
They fight completely different. There's those guys with the chains fire that you have, like their crit is the fireball that's spinning around.
They can ether walk away. They've got the pylons they can put out.
Yes.
Fighting them is interesting.
Yes, it was different.
It was different, and it was more of like you don't fight them the same way you fight Cabal.
I'm really hoping, because are the Taken the darkness, or is that different?
That's different.
Because I didn't play Destiny 1.
I think it's different.
They're
drawn to the light, so they're different.
They keep talking about the darkness and the darkness on the moon, and the darkness isn't done or whatever. So I'm hoping that we get to the moon and suddenly, whether it's the end of the narrative, that we crack something open and oh shit. Some darkness, new enemy type, something coming out. We're all about to be in trouble, and that's what maybe the next season we bring a new enemy type in, or heck, let's just have a new enemy type now, because like I think we have a new type of hive.
Of course we do.
We already have ice hive or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So that would be interesting, but we need to move on from Destiny. But we're right now. I think we're frustrated because while are trying to be transparent, I think because of the lack of example, it seems very vague.
It's shady.
It's shady.
It's really shady, and it seems like they're just being dishonest.
Right.
And they've got like an open window, but through that open window, it almost feels like they're taping a picture.
Yeah, it's a one-way window.
They can do better, and I know they just went independent.
Right.
It's
and that's what I was telling you. I was like, I feel like some of these changes they're just trying to reset so that they can build differently. I described it as repotting a plant, right? They're just trying to take this giant plant they've grown and move it to a bigger pot that can grow. The pot can grow, you know? So I get what they're trying to do. I just, like we've already discussed in way ignacia, of just they're doing it in a way that feels wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that even 3 months from now, when we get to whatever's after Shadowkeep, that would be like the Black Armory phase. I think that would be season 9. Whatever. When we get to that next season, suddenly they've kind of righted themselves, and now they're like, oh, okay, we're flying again. We're safe. We're good. What do we want to do now? How do we want to change the game? What can we do? And so I'm hoping, like the new finisher moves. I'm really excited about that. They showed off some of that in Armor 2.0. We didn't even really talk about that, but I was excited about seeing some of that stuff because that's using super energy. Right. So now suddenly you're getting to use that super energy more for other things. I don't know. I am excited to see where it's going to go. It's just it makes us nervous and, like you said, shady.
And it just feels like we've been down this road before, and they do not learn from their mistakes.
Right.
They just keep applying the wrong solution to all of these problems, and we're just going to keep having the problems because it comes off like they don't know what they're doing.
Well, and I think we'll get to the end of these changes, and they will hear the community. They will, and I think right now, they hear that people are probably frustrated. You know, they're watching this right now, and they're like, "Oh well."
Luke Smith, stop it!
Stop it, Luke. Right now, they're listening, but they're like, "Okay, kids, look, this is going to be great. Just let's get to the end of it." And I think they're going to get to the end of it, and they're going to say, okay, maybe the kids weren't totally wrong. Maybe we do need to adjust this. Maybe we can fix this. So I really do think it's just they're trying to right the ship and try some new things, and we'll just have to see where it goes.
Okay.
Let's talk about Anthem. We've talked way too long about Destiny. So we've jumped back into Anthem. The Cataclysm event finally dropped.
Yep.
What would you describe the Cataclysm as?
The Cataclysm does feel like one of those seasonal events.
Some new stories.
It
added just a little bit of new story.
It added a lot of new stuff because there are new missions. There was a new stronghold, and the new stronghold's cool. We need to play it.
We need to do it. Yeah. What's probably gonna end up happening now is like Thursday or Friday is gonna be a Destiny or Anthem stream, and then Saturday is just gonna be like fill in the blank.
I feel like during this Cataclysm, especially since you got your heroic or your
once I got up to class,
once you got your armor.
I mean, seriously, and this is perhaps unfair, but like I don't want to play unless I'm playing the Cataclysm, not because like the Cataclysm was so fun or anything, but like the gear that I was
very
getting,
lucrative. It's
very lucrative. Like, I mean, I got great gear, legendary gear.
Jeremy got 3 legendary drops in one of those runs. And it takes like 10 minutes.
Yeah, Jeremy was like, yeah, dog, I'm running like all legendary
He's
gear
all but
except
two
for 2
components,
things. So it's like, wow.
Jeremy is, good lord, his luck in that game. But the Cataclysm is a mode that is kind of like a seasonal event where every week of the Cataclysm, they add more to it.
Yeah.
So right now, when you launch the Cataclysm, you are taken to it's retooled assets from the base game.
Right.
But their reasoning for that is that this character named Vara is trying to create a new reality to overwrite the current one.
Yes.
So when you enter, it's just this huge storm where lightning is dropping everywhere. There's wind and everything. Everything's crazy.
It's crazy.
And then you'll step into a safe spot where you actually revert back to the old reality. Like one thing you might have noticed that was cool was when we got into that blue orb.
Yep.
Everything was sunny.
Was pretty and nice. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which was a cool effect.
Yeah.
But you have 15 minutes when you start in the Cataclysm. Every objective and secret and whatever that you do, you get more time back. So when the Cataclysm started, there was the first the event with the coils that were out that you had to push down.
Yep.
Then there was the underwater gate. Then there was the backpacks, and then you move straight to Vara.
Yes.
This past week they added the turret facility.
We went to the turret room.
So I assume every week they're going to add more to where by the end of the Cataclysm event, it's going to be this thing that you could go for like an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just keep getting more and more stuff because they're adding more and more to the world, and it's really cool.
And it's very lucrative, and like I hope they don't nerf that because like there's a seasonal store that also comes with it. There's a new store where you're earning these things called minor shards in the gameplay.
Minor shards and major shards.
And like, do you earn major shards?
Sometimes.
Is that a rare? Yeah. So
through challenges.
Sometimes you earn major stars by doing extra challenges or whatever in the mode, but you're getting I think we were getting 1,300 to 1,500 every run.
During the stream that I did late on Friday night,
right?
I had one run where I had just a really good group, and like one guy went off and did all of the side stuff while I was fighting Vara.
Yeah.
With like me and another ranger. We ended it with like 3,376 minor shards.
And that's crazy. And so and in the store you can use the minor shards to buy major shards, which like almost everything you buy in the store, you have to have like at least one major shard.
Yes.
Some of the armor pieces, like there's a storm armor set in there right now that was 8 shards. Just that one live stream we did, I had enough minor shards to buy enough major shards.
Just that
to
one
get
Cataclysm I did was like 7
would have been enough
majors.
to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting what they've been doing because they made it to where the first week they released melee gear.
Right.
And if you did run through the Cataclysm, you had a chance of finding good melee gear.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the war chests that you could spend shards on to get melee gear. And then this past week they added new gear mods.
Right.
And so that's the current thing that you can get from the Cataclysm itself, or you can go to the merchant and get not only that, but also the melee weapons.
Right.
So next week they're probably going to add support gear or weapons.
I was thinking weapons, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting rollout method because they're basically making it to where, and I like this mentality, they're encouraging you to come back and play Anthem not every day.
Right.
Not just like
come back at least a week.
Like at least one day a week.
Yeah.
Just to play it a little bit to see
because you don't have to play very much of it to get
you really don't.
Stuff.
Like every time in the store, unless if you're an absolute collector.
There's Grandmaster 3 too, right?
Yes.
What is that power level?
800 plus or something like that, I think.
See, we're at that.
No, we're not.
I am.
I'm not.
Oh no, wait. What are we?
We're
760 something.
We're on 750ish.
So we're close. We could probably with Big German.
I mean, I'm at the point where I'd play Grandmaster 2 standard. It's not that bad.
Anyway, so but we could be more lucrative if we were at that point.
We could. Mm-hmm. But it can be kind of frustrating when the loot seems not as random as it could be. Like it is like a curse. Whenever I play with Jeremy, he gets everything, and I get
nothing.
Purples and blues.
Yeah.
So sometimes it does feel weird, like there is some kind of hidden thing. But I'm having a blast with the game again.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the time that we spent, especially because I started out like way under power level, and like to the point that like I had forgotten what everything was. So I started off like just burning a bunch of stuff, but then I got so much stuff in that one little 2-hour playthrough that I was able to capitalize and catch up in gear level, and then I had like a couple moves that I was able to pop off.
Yeah, you
and
caught
suddenly,
up with me and level in like 2 cataclysms.
Yeah, I mean it was great. And then we got the Grabbit Ears, and now I'm 100% in. I am locked. I want to play more.
I really appreciate a lot of the ideas that Anthem is putting forth. They just really need more support than they're getting.
They do, and part of it is like just even just like the UI and how the game works. Because like what I do in loading screens in Destiny is I pop open my character sheet, I review gear, I delete gear I don't want, I read the stats of gear that I have because the loading screens are long, and I get that. That's fine, whatever. But like at least Destiny, it's like I have one button.
There's something to
2 buttons. I can look and check other things. I can see pursuits. I can do whatever.
Yeah.
Anthem, you are stuck in that loading screen. And beyond that, like we finish a mission, which now I figured out like, oh, you can go to you can just go straight to the expeditions page and go to your forge through that, and you're fine. But still, there's a long loading screen that we have to sit through. Why can't I just jump to my forge?
They did add where you can do another mission from that mission complete section. They need to add go to the forge there.
Just go straight to the forge, yeah. And even that, because that would be better, because at least then it's like and it's not even one less loading screen. Because once you're at the expedition page, you hit forge and you're there, and it's fine. But like just the loading screens while I'm waiting, like why can't I just look at my gear? Why can't I change my gear on the fly? Like
there's a lot of the little things that still don't feel right. There's still a fair number of glitches. The audio glitches are pretty nuts sometimes, especially if you wear headphones.
But like the gameplay is fun. Like I the first thing I said out of the gate, I was like, well, I'm not doing any damage, but I'm having a great time flying around. Like I was having a blast just flying.
Yep.
So it's good, and now that I've got this where I can just like I can grind and actually get gear that I'm going to care about and start to min max and figure out what I want to do.
Yep.
It's going to be better. But anyway, I don't know. I hope it continues to grow, and that actually brings us to one of the news. Like we had very few news stories, but one of the news stories this week is Ben Irving has left BioWare. So he was there for 8 years.
He left BioWare for another gaming company.
He's going to another gaming company.
Yes.
He was the lead producer on Anthem. I was actually listening to a podcast on the way here of people just talking about, like, why do you think he left? And do you think there was some drama? Like, do you think he just couldn't handle it anymore? Like, what is that? Like, I don't care. That's Ben's business. What I'm curious about is what does this mean for Anthem?
Right.
Because suddenly your lead producer, and I'm sure that I know with Kingdom Hearts, like the guy who does, like, all the Final Fantasies in Kingdom Hearts, it's the same guy. He's got to bounce from thing to thing. Once he's got Final Fantasy in a place, he's jumping to this. Once he got Kingdom Hearts done, he's jumping to whatever. So I get that's not like the end of the world. And even he was like, I'm excited to see what the team does. They've got some great things.
It's got a bright future ahead.
It's got a bright future ahead, which he's got. I know he's got to say that. But I wonder what's, because we keep hearing that they're committed, right? And that's from EA, that's from BioWare, whatever. They're committed to the game. And what we're the Cataclysm is great.
It's a huge update.
yeah, the Cataclysm took forever to get here. It was delayed. It was pushed back. It wasn't kept up with. Whatever, which that's fine because Anthem in general just probably should have been another year in the pod.
It really should.
But I just hope that a year from now we can look at Anthem and say, man, they really improved. They've fixed a lot of these little things so that I can actually get to the gameplay and enjoy it. But I don't know. I really hope they come around and figure all that out.
Yeah. It just needs time and attention, and it's hard to turn around a PR nightmare like Anthem, but it's been done before. It's honestly becoming more of a thing in video games.
I was about to say, No Man's Sky. My God, they wrote the book on how do you turn around something that just bombed. You know? Yep. No Man's Sky is a great.
Everyone's
just got their
talking
first
great about it now.
Well, not their first update, but like they had a major update that came in and was like, "Here's the game we told you you were getting," and everybody was like, "Whoa, this is great! Now this is a lot of fun." Yada yada. Now they've come out with another one. You got VR. You can ride animals. Like there's all sorts of crazy stuff. There's a new spaceship. Like it's crazy what's in there now. So they've just done really good building it up and going into it. So I hope Anthem, we can have that same story with Anthem later, but we'll just have to see how that goes.
Yep.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of ChortleCast. We do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, there's a couple things you can do to help us out. Number one, if you're watching on YouTube, you're already at ChortleGames.com. You can like this video, leave us a comment, share it with your friends. Really appreciate that. If you're an audio listener, you can leave us a review on iTunes. That helps people find the podcast. If you want to keep up with us, you can join our Discord. You can find a link to that in the description or at the banner level of our channel page. You can join that. You can write in, let us know about topics or questions you'd like to hear in the podcast. You can also just keep up with us. We got a main chat. You can see the video of a music box scaring the hell out of me and my wife last night. Because that was creepy. Because it was a broken music box that suddenly started playing. Anyway, go check it out in the Discord. There you go. That's a good reason to get you there. But anyway, we hang out and all that good stuff. And then also you can keep up with us on Twitter at ChortleGames and Facebook at ChortleGames. Steven, this isn't the only thing we do on the channel. ChortleCast airs every Monday at 12 o'clock Central Time. We usually premiere it. One of us is usually in the chat, so you can come hang out. Even though it's not a live thing, it's a pre-recorded thing. We kind of have a live component to it, so it's a lot of fun. On Wednesdays, we have a Let's Play. It's where a shorter edited video of us playing usually a silly, funny game, whatever. This week it's going to be Fire Emblem, a silly, funny game. And it's going to be me experiencing a Golden Deer playthrough. I get to interact with students. I get to I did a lesson plan, and then I fought some folks, and it was great.
Bandits.
I fought some bandits. I killed a thief. I learned some lessons. It was great. And then on Thursday, right now it's mostly just Thursday. We're doing this thing we call Tea Time, which is where we play a co-op game on Tuesday or Thursday, but mostly Thursday's just been working right now. We're probably gonna play Destiny. We're aiming to do Menagerie stuff, so we're gonna get Big Germ, who's our Titan. Yet. He has not played Menagerie. We're gonna get him through. We'll probably have Austin, one of our subs, maybe some other guys. Maybe McCoy would be interested in if he's around. Anyway, we're gonna play Menagerie. Hopefully, we can get Big Germ caught up enough so that we can try a heroic Menagerie to end it on the night. Because I need a sword. All right, I need a new Quick Fang. All right, I need it.
Always.
I need
always
it.
have something else that you need to get.
It's the next day. I'm moving on to the next grind.
Yep.
And then Friday, we're going to do an Anthem stream. Probably playing Cataclysm. I wouldn't mind trying the new Stronghold.
We should. It's really cool.
Maybe we do a couple Cataclysms, do the Stronghold, move on.
Yeah.
I gotta keep that gear grind going, Steven. That's always another thing. And then Saturday, it's probably going to be just a Steven stream, unless he dies in a fiery hellfire, and then I have to do something, and I'll probably do Clash Royale, because that's just what I'm really feeling right now.
Hellfire?
I don't know. You never know, Steven. Don't mess with water, okay? That's the problem. That's what I'm trying to say.
Don't mess with water. It'll put you in a hell with
water.
Fiery
water
hellfire.
will not save you from fire, okay? I'm just here to tell you, it will ruin your life.
I don't think
your house will be burning down. You water it, and suddenly you have water damage, and it's a whole nother problem.
And then fire.
Don't F with water. Just let it burn. Just let it burn. It's a lot easier. Anyway, that's what we got for you this week. Steven, thank you for being here. Thank you for hosting me.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for me being here.
You're welcome.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.